Good day, everyone. Before we will start our discussion, let's have a prayer first. Let's bow down our head and pray silently. Since today is another day, so we will open a new topic. But before that, we will check first the attendance. Secretary, please do the honor. Thank you, Miss Secretary. Since nobody absent, can anyone do a short recap about the last topic we had discussed? Yes? That's right. Thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Today, we will tackle about formulating objectives. Let's read further learning objectives. The cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. At the end of the session, students must be able to, first, recognize the objective-related principle of teaching. Second, appreciate the value of preparing objectives in 3 domains in a lesson. And third, create objectives in 3 domains in a given subject matter. So why do we need to formulate a learning objective? Yes. That's right. Learning objectives should be used to guide students as they work through the course and to assess their learning process. Excellent learning objectives provide a guide for students when reviewing materials and preparing for assessment. Learning objectives are the most powerful if they are actionable and measurable. There is no right number of learning objectives for any given course, but objectives should communicate discrete student accomplishment rather than very broad umbrella headings. However, there are objectives-related principles of teaching that will serve as basis in formulating objectives. Objectives-related principles of teaching. So first, begin with the end in mind. Means, begin your lesson with a clearly defined lesson objectives. With clear and specific lesson objective, we will have a sense of direction. Second, share lesson objectives with students. Our lesson ought to begin with our lesson objectives. This will become their personal target. They will evaluate themselves. Discussion is the clarification of the lesson objective. Introduce to the students our instructional objective and encourage them to have their own objectives. Third, lesson objectives must be in the 3 domains. What are the 3 domains? Yes, that's right. The cognitive, which knowledge, affective, which involves values, and psychomotor, which is skill. A holistic lesson that dwells on knowledge and skills, habits, and attitudes. Our lesson may be dominantly cognitive. When we say dominantly cognitive, if it meant permanently for knowledge. Fourth, work on significant and relevant lesson objectives. Must be connected to our students' life experience. With our lesson objective becoming our students' lesson, objective to our student will be self-fulfilled as we teach. The level of their self-motivation will increase more when our lesson objective is relevant to their daily life. Fifth, lesson objectives must be aligned with the aims of education as embodied in the Philippine Constitution and on the vision mission statements of the educational institution or school which you are a part. The aim education as enshrined in our fundamental law of the land, in the Educational Act of 1982, the 10-year medium-term development plan. Sixth, aim at the development of critical and creative thinking. Questions are arranged from the lowest to highest level of taxonomy of objectives. Serves as catalyst in the development of higher order thinking skills or hacks. Lastly, for accountability of learning. Lesson objectives must be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented or relevant, time-bounded or terminal. When we say specific, know your objective. Measurable, formulating test. Attainable, can students attain the question? Related, oriented, or relevant. Focused on your end. Time-bounded or terminal. The lesson objective is aligned at the curriculum. So that's the 7 objectives-related principles of teaching. Before we will end our discussion, I have one question for you. What are learning objectives good for? Yes. That's right. They help faculty members select and organize course content and approaches. For example, articulating key objectives can lead to selection of assignments better linked to the skills and knowledge instructors hope that their students will gain. They communicate to students what the instructor wants them to get out of the course. This may guide students' learning efforts, helping them to focus on what instructor sees as most important. Stated learning objectives can similarly focus TAA efforts in their interactions with students. They give faculty members another way to assess students' experiences in their courses. Since we don't have enough time for the activity, I will just post the link in the Google Classroom that will be closed tomorrow at exactly 11:59 p.m. Thank you and see you next meeting. Why did you choose that certain approach or method or strategy? So, I choose lecture method to help my students easily acquire of terms, basic facts, and simple concepts. This method matches students' expectation and teacher rules. It provides opportunity for better clarification of the topics and laying stress on significance. I also involve interactive approach in a way that I raise some questions for them to explain. This approach will make students more independent and more focused towards learning. Can you teach without using an approach, a method, or strategy? Why or why not? No, I can teach because it will lead the class into conflict and more complicated upon understanding the lesson. Using a certain strategy for teaching is very vital because it helps the educator to have a well-organized class in order for them to help the students to become more efficient and more effective learners. Also, making use of strategies helps students bypass their area of weakness and to perform at the level of which they are capable. It promotes flexible thinking and teach students the importance of teaching their approaches to a different task. What strategy is best for teaching English to non-English speaking students? For me, the best strategy for teaching English to non-English speaking students is interactive strategy because this strategy helps to improve your students' interest in the learning process and make them active participants in the lessons. Interactive activities offer broader benefits than simply achieving educational goals. In fact, you can easily incorporate this type of exercise into your virtual class lesson to help improve your students' communication skills and teamwork abilities. One of the best tips for teaching English to non-native speakers is to rely heavily on oral communication. The more you get your students talking to you and to each other in English, the better their overall comprehension will be to be. What strategy will you use in your future class? In my future class, I will use expository teaching strategy because this strategy is basically direct instruction. A teacher is in the front of the room lecturing and students are taking notes. It involves presenting clear and concise information in a purposeful way that allows students to easily make connection from one concept to the next. The structure of an expository lesson helps students to stay focused on the topic at hand. This is why expository instruction is one of the most common instructional strategies. Most educators believe students learn new concepts and ideas better if all the information they need to know is laid before them. How was your experience in working with your pre-recorded class demonstration? At first, it's nervous because I don't know what to do first and what will be the flow of my class. But when the ideas begin to in, I feel fortunate because the things will go successfully and finally I did it.